Greetings, brothers and sisters. The clippings that will be used in this video will be used for entertainment and educational and entertainment and critiquing purposes. That is the disclosure and the disclaimer of public use, right? So allow me to share my screen. Make sure everything is right here. Yes, yes, everything is well.
You don't need another political uprising. We don't need another conqueror on the scene. What we need is a special word that will burn within our hearts and give us direction from above. We need a word from the Lord, a word from the Lord, just one word from the Lord will move all the doubts and cause the sun to shine and give peace of mind. Speak, Lord, speak. Lord, we lack thy wisdom and thy understanding. Lord, we lack the very love you're showing us. Lord, we've all turned back ways, and we stand so much to gain. So give us your word, Lord. Speak, Lord. We need a word from the Lord. A word from the Lord. Just one word from the Lord will move all the doubts and cause the sun to shine and give a peace of mind. Speak, Lord. Speak. Just one word from the Lord will move all the doubts and cause the sun to shine and give a peace of mind. Speak, Lord. Speak. Lord.
greetings. This is Terry Whitfield, also known as YashaBen Yishrael, the nephew of the great legend Thomas Whitfield. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, at the bottom of his album, it says The Best of Thomas Whitfield, 13 Songs, the New Gospel Legends series. Gospel Legends. I put this song out there for a reason. Because some people don't understand what myths, legends, and even sagas are, right? And the song was very, very much ringing in my heart and on my soul, right? Because if we, as believers in God, then surely if we ever needed the Lord, we need him right now. We need a word from our Creator. We don't need, what do you say? We don't need another political uprising, right? We don't need another conqueror on the sea. All we need is a special word that would just burn within our hearts. Words that would give us directions from up above. That's what we need. There are those out here, namely Garfield Reed, right, who don't believe in this God, who don't believe that God can give his people a word from above, who do not believe in legends and myths, who do not believe in scholarship for Black people, who do not believe in Black people that talk about history or religion, right? Anything coming from a Black or African perspective dealing with history or religion, you're automatically wrong with Garfield Reed, right? Garfield Reed hates Black people that believe in God. He hates Black people that believe in any type of Black or African agenda. He hates Black scholars. He hates any Black person that is religious. Even if they're Christian. I'll go as far as to say that because he's not a Christian. Garfield is not a Christian. Y'all would like to think he's a Christian, but he's not. Garfield hates God. Garfield hates the Bible. Garfield hates being Black. Garfield hates Black people. And Garfield hates history. I want to share my screen. I'm going to show you all something. Right? So we stop share right there. And we push share screen. So allow me to share my screen. I want to play something today. Right? Which one of these do I want to go through first? Let's go through Garfield. Let's talk about Garfield. Let's get that one out the way, right? Allow me to share my screen. Okay.
Great.
I'm going to go back to about right here and listen to the things that Garfield is going to say. Just I want y'all to listen. I want to make sure the mic is up so we can get a good recording here so everyone can see everything is on 100%. Yeah, okay. Listen to the ridiculous things that Garfield say. Notice that. I want to tell y'all, and I'm going to prove it today on this show, and I already did it on this channel. I'm going to prove it again, that I'm the first man to call out the fact that Garfield Reed is a liar, and he does not have no degrees. But he stood and first and lied to me on side another show that he has 2 PhDs. And I challenged him to produce them because he won't produce them. And he has a reason for not producing them because I told him that if you produce them, I'm going to call that college. I'm going to call that university. And I'm going to validate your credentials. I'm going to see if your credentials is validated by the college. Because all you have to do when people pull these fake degrees, people, right? And fake transcripts and all of that. All you have to do is call up to the college that their name is attributed to on that paper and ask the college and the university. Let the college and the university know that you are considering hiring this person in his expertise, but you want to know because you are, right? You want to know you're hiring him to teach you and to educate you, right? So you want to you're doing it for free, right? And you're paying him by way of YouTube views. You're paying him attention. You see, so that's what it really is. And I want y'all to sit back and just listen to the fake history that these brothers teach and preach.
The pharaoh and the traditional rights of rulership, even though they spoke Greek and they practiced Greek culture. You know what I mean?
Did West Africa still
hold on, Kyle. Let him finish.
Yeah. So my whole thing is like, is it different based off of like if I'm just a individual coming and adopting the culture, or is it problematic if I'm a conqueror and take a position that was once held to the indigenous people?
Okay. Very good question, Kyle. If you want to respond, I'll let you go on.
Yeah, I do.
He was talking about, is it all right for the conquerors to once take positions that were held by the indigenous people? Now look how this man is fixing to juxtapose history, right? See what they doing? This is dumb. This dumbmanship. This is not scholarship. Look what these people doing, y'all.
Respond, but that's a great question. I agree with the process that you're going down, James. I'm with you on that same questioning line, right? And real intelligence doesn't come from answering; it comes from asking the right question, because that means you have a higher level of understanding. So I appreciate that. And so my question also would be: would we, as African Americans, descendant of the transatlantic slave trade, would we be stealing European culture by speaking English, by using our system of measurement, by adapting to these cultures? Because that's the argument that we are having, because it's about
he's saying that this is the argument that we really start having. First off, people, I want to inform y'all that none of these people had these type of thoughts until I entered into another show. And they kept saying that Israel stole from Kemet. And I said that Israel could not possibly stolen from Kemet. They was, according to the stories, that Israel was slaves in Kemet for hundreds of years. So basically, they had the Kemetic teaching, writing, culture. They lived Kemetian for hundreds of years, according to the text. So when they were expelled out, right? And they were expelled out with everything Kemetic. They didn't have a culture and a language and this or that of their own that they were using. You know what I'm saying? They were using in that demographic everything of Kemet. And I said that is that, and I used the example that we as African Americans, if we speak in English, we don't know African culture, African history, nothing. But if we come up with an invention inside of America, does that make this invention American? Or does it make it my invention as an African American? Does that make me a thief because I read English books and English ideologies that was adopted from other cultures, right? Does that make me a thief of English or American culture because I created things, you know what I'm saying, that I learned when I was in America, now that I'm free? Does that make me a thief? And this is what his argument is based on. You see what I'm saying? But these people don't want to give me no love. This show right here is amazing to me, people. because the Garfield Reed show, Garfield had podcasts. Garfield has spent the last year. He wasn't breaking down nothing Tazariak said. He hadn't spent the last year breaking down nothing Zion Lex said. He has not spent the last year breaking down nothing Black Jesus Minister said. He has not spent the last year breaking down nothing JJ 7000 said, or Divine Prospect. He has spent the last year deciphering and breaking down his encounter that he had with me, trying to convince himself that he's right when he's wrong. Listen to this ridiculousness, y'all. Watch this.
Adaptation. It's about immersing yourself in a culture that has been infused with your culture. And that's the root of it. I would never say that African Americans stole European culture. I would say that we was influenced by it.
Right. Hey, you know what? You know where
that thought came from? You wouldn't have thought nothing until you listen to me, Kyle, but you want to be disrespectful to me. You want to disrespect me. But you steal from me. You don't even have an ideal of your own, man. Okay? This is ridiculous, people. Watch this.
You know what's the beauty about coming on the Brother Garfield podcast or the Dagger Squad channel? Is that when you come on here, you're going to learn. You're not going to be here saying, I didn't learn anything at all. And I want to help everybody out to understand Egyptian history. I think we've done a poor job.
I think we have done a poor job. And I think you're right. You all have. That's why I don't teach Egyptian history, right? You're going to quote wrong dates, no names. You're going to say what the scholars say, but you're not going to say what the scholars say. You're going to say what you say and attribute it to the scholars. This is what you're going to do with Garfield. You're not going to say geologist such and such with a PhD in such and such said. You're not going to do that. And you're not going to say where he said it, when he said it, or how he said it. You see, and I'm going to show you all these things. Just watch this.
In trying to evaluate what went on in what time period and explaining it properly to the people in the community. All right, and I'm not saying it out of anger.
He said he wants to explain it properly. I'm going to show you that he's lying. If you want to explain something properly to the people, Garfield, why are you improperly explaining it to the people? Because why are you doing exactly the opposite of what you're telling the people you're doing? I'm gonna show y'all, people. Watch this fuck nigga.
Anger, but I'm just saying it out of distaste for how we deliver messages to the people. The people don't understand anything. Well, let's take a look.
He said the people don't understand anything. He says anything to you because he take you all as stupid and dumb. Okay, I don't do that. I take you all as intellectuals and I exercise your intellect. He take you as stupid and dumb and he plays on your intellect and he stumps and laughs. And actually, he insults your intelligence. This guy is a fucking insult to intelligence, people. With his fake ass degrees. Let us know what school you got a degree from, lying ass nigga. So I can call the fucking school. Okay? So I can verify that you don't have a fucking PhD. So I can be truthful, right? So I can prove that I was truthful when I confronted you a year ago, right? With your fake PhDs. It wasn't Chris Harris and all these other motherfuckers. All of them came after me because everybody else was scared of your bitch ass. I'm not scared of you. You hate me and you scared of me. You invite people onto your show to challenge your weak, whack ass information, man. And why would I go over there so you can mute the buttons and play with the sounds and shit and throw me off the show? And man, I'm not gonna play with you because if I go over there talking nice and respectful, I got a whole fucking video page full of me proving this to you. That if I go over there being respectful, that you're gonna throw me off the show because I beat you with the information. You're going to show that and you're going to prove that and you're going to do that every single time. You understand what I'm saying? That's exactly what you're going to do. You're not going to listen to the information. You're not going to debunk the information right there on the spot like a scholar would. You're going to come back and spend the next year trying to debunk what I say, right? You know, but you do it and you don't say you're debunking me because you don't want people to go back over here and come on my page and see me tear your ass up on my page, Garfield. But this is going to be the last time I destroy you. And I'm going to prove to the world that you do not know what the fuck you're talking about on no level, right? And I'm going to prove that to the entire world. Listen to this, people.
Look at this and see where Garfield is going. Let's take a look at this. All right, first things first. The tribe of Dan is called, they consider them Greek mercenaries hired by Egypt. So
he said that the tribe of Dan, basically what he's trying to say that basically he's trying to say that the tribe of, he is saying that the tribe of Dan is Greek mercenaries hired by Egypt. Now let's go back and read what the caption said. This is coming from Israel itself, right? This is coming from Haaretz Israel, a Jewish newspaper, right? And I want you to see where this is coming from and how he is twisting up these Europeans' words, right?
In English by using our system of measurement, by adapting to his culture, because that's the argument that
I'm trying to get right to
for how we deliver messages to people. The people don't understand anything. Well, let's take a look at this and see where Garfield is going.
Right.
They consider.
First, you got to look at the sources. You see at the top, it says Haaretz Israel. Haaretz Israel is a Jewish, right? It is a Jewish newspaper that is equivalent to like the New York Times in America. It is their lingua franca newspaper. The tribe of Dan, the sons of Israel, or the Greek mercenaries hired by Egypt. That's what the caption says. That's not what this clown's saying. This clown is talking in such a way that he's trying to say that the Greek mercenaries were, right, hired by Egypt. Listen to the way he's talking. The way he's talking as if though this passage said that the Greek mercenaries were hired by Egypt, and the passage did not say that. It said the tribe of Dan, sons of Israel, that's one thought, comma, or Greek mercenaries hired by Egypt. He's comparing two thoughts. He's asking you, which thought is this? Are the tribe of Dan the sons of Israel, or are they Greek mercenaries, right, hired by Egypt? That's what they're asking. This clown is going to talk in such a way as if though, if you go back and read, all you got to do is we can go back and pull up the passage, right? He's talking in such a way as if though this passage said that they were, and it did not, right? And he's going to talk in such a way that none of his evidence supports, right? It's called conjecture, right? Listen to this.
Them Greek mercenaries hired by Egypt. So if you look at the time period here in the late Bronze Age, when Egypt was ruling over the Levant, they were actually hiring Greeks.
But the text didn't say that. It says Samson the Greek is asking a question. Basically, was Samson the Greek, right? Then it goes on to start another sentence. 3,000-year-old archaeological find at Tel Dan suggests that the Danites were Aegean soldiers hired by Canaan's Egyptian overlords to keep the order, right? That's what it said. It did not say what this man is saying. It's asking the question, right? And it's saying that archaeological finds suggest this, right? It didn't say that these were facts. These are just what the archaeological finds suggest, right? Now, I'm going to show you what it means when archaeological finds suggest these types of things. Let's just listen to the bull crap that this clown is saying.
So they had a relationship with Greeks. They had the fresco Minoan drawings within the temples during the time of what it's called in the 1500s BC on the walls in Kemet. You have
okay. Now, what he is doing, he's talking about the frescoes of 1500 BC in the walls of Kemet. He's talking about what is considered the Greek frescoes in Kemet. Now, if we go and listen to this guy, listen to what he's doing. He keeps saying that what he's doing is he's going to keep attributing something to Greek civilization that that when a Greek civilization didn't even exist. We're talking like the Greek civilization only started around 700 BC. And he's talking about 1500 BC. There was no Mycenaean civilization, right? The Mycenaeans were the Greeks. There was no Mycenaean civilization in 7 BC. So what he is trying to do is equate the civilization of the Greeks to that of the Minoans. Allow me to just stop this right here. Now I'm gonna keep letting him hang himself and show y'all why he's messing up.
Greek drawings that they can connect to Greece. They have items that they brought. In fact, the pig that the Egyptians hated, because the Egyptians are the one that influenced the biblical Israelite culture of hating pigs. Egypt is the one that they got that from. I don't think people understand that, because the Greeks, how they know.
That's who the Greeks got it from. He said the Greeks got it from Egypt. I got this guy on tape saying that the Greeks got nothing from Egypt. But let's go forward.
The sea people were the Greeks. Is that the pig that they brought is from Greece. The pig that they came over with is from Greece. Now look at this now. This is 1300 BC, 1500 BC, 1400 BC. These people are in the Levant already helping out Egypt. So they are already familiar with Egyptian culture and friendly with the Egyptian culture. So let me cut this off. Let me go to the next one.
Well, let us cut you off. Okay, now let me show you what Garfield is doing. When you go back to 1500 BC, there was no Greek civilization. There was no Greek anything. Those people was not Grecians. Greek civilization began with the Hellas and the Macedonians, the Mycenaeans, right? You're talking roughly around 700 BC. Prior to 700 BC, there was no such thing as Greek, right? But when the scholars talk about the land, right? When you're talking in a situation of Greece, you're talking about the Greek civilization versus the land, right? Now, the land that the Greeks occupied, this is the game that he's playing. The land was not called Greece prior to the Greeks coming there. The historians call it the land of Greece, right? Just to give you an understanding of the landmass and where this is coming from. How you doing, Queen of Virtue? What up, Tori? What up, what up? I'm going to show you what this man is doing. Allow me to share my screen. Stop share. Let me share again. Okay. Now I want you to read this real quick. Now we ain't got to read much, right? You ain't even got to go off in the deep nothing. You could just look the stuff up, right? Now let's talk about the Greek and the Minoan language, right? It says unrelated to one another. This is from Jester. This Jester is if you ever looking for peer reviews, Jester is basically a bunch of peer reviews. So because they keep talking about peer review work, right? Like that's something hard to come across, right? Jester is nothing but peer review work, right? All you just look up Jester, JSTOR, right? And it says on the Juster, right? When you look up, is the Greek language related to the Minoan language? It says unrelated to another. The theory that Minoan could be Greek is based, of course, on deliberate disregard for historical plausibility. Stop. Now, this is dealing with not only the language, but the people as well. People. Not only the language, we're talking about the language, the people, right? And the culture. Scholars who make peer-reviewed work say the theory that Minoans could be Greek is based, of course, on a deliberate disregard for historical plausibility. And the wonder is that the Greek readings have been got into publishable form at all. Unrelated to another, the theory that Minoan could be Greek is based, of course, on a deliberate disregard for historical plausibility. And the wonder is that the Greek readings have been got into publishable form at all. So we can see here that the Minoan people, based on scholars, and we could just use the scholar's name who wrote this, right? Because Garfield liked to play stupid, right? He liked to play smart, but he liked to play like you're stupid. And he just said it in the video that he thinks that you're stupid, right? This here was written by M.G.F. Ventris, okay? These are peer-reviewed works, people, right? The Archaeological Institute of America. Introducing the Minoan language, right? We can take our time. We ain't going nowhere. We trying to learn. We ain't trying to be in no competition with the one-liners. We trying to learn, right? It says the Minoan inscriptions from Knossos and elsewhere, though they have been known for 40 years, remain the only extensive writing of the ancient world which cannot yet be either read or understood. This is no reflection on the ability of those who have devoted their studies to them, considering the extreme difficulty of the problem. It is almost inevitable, where the material is restricted almost entirely to account for written in very abbreviated form. One cannot exert the same progress to be made as in languages which have yet left an extensive literature, because there is nothing a whole lot left for these people like that, and what we do have, we do know that this language has not been deciphered, right? So Garfield cannot say and prove that the Minoan culture, the Minoan civilization, and the people were the same as the Greeks. It cannot be proven, right? It cannot be proven because they are not the same people. And Garfield is talking. He is shifting the Greek civilization. He's juxtaposing, right? This is what you call juxtaposing, right? He's juxtaposing the Greek civilization with the Minoan civilization to say that they were the same civilization. It's not. How do we know that it's not? Let me go back and see where we are here. I'm going to show you how we know that it's not, right? Go back over here. let's get up out of there. I'm gonna show you how we know it's not the same. Because it read that it was not the same. We're gonna go back to where we were at here. Okay. We went there, back up out of there. How do we know it? Because when we ask Google, is the Greek language related to the Minoan language? It says unrelated to one another. The languages and the culture is not related because they're not the same people. The theory that the Minoan could be Greek is based, of course, on a deliberate disregard for historical plausibility. And that's what Garfield's whole rhetoric is based on. His whole rhetoric is based on a deliberate disregard for historical plausibility. Now, let me get up out of that. We got Queen Virtue. Shalom, shalom, shalom. We got old Tori in the house, Tori Bolton. Shalom, shalom, shalom to you. Right? So we can see now that culturally, right, linguistically, that the Minoans are not the same people as the Greeks. I want to show you all something here. I'm going to back up out of that. I got just some things to show you. Right? How bad this man hates history and hates scholarship and no white scholars, right? So I don't even talk to him about white scholars, right? With black scholars, because he don't respect them. And I use white scholars to just mop them up every time because the truth is the truth, right? And there is scholars out there that back up what you got to say, if what you got to say is the truth, right? So we dealt with the Minoan, is the Minoan language related? Let's read a little bit more about the Minoan language. And allow me to share my screen here. Bam, there it is. It's shared. We're just going to read a little something, right? The Minoan language is a language, right, of the ancient Minoan civilization of Crete, written in Cretan hieroglyphics and later in linear A syllabary, as a Cretan hieroglyphs are undeciphered and linear A only partly deciphered, right? The Minoan language is unknown and unclassified indeed. The Greek language is classified. The Greek language is known. The Minoan language is unknown and is unclassified. They're not the same language because they're not the same culture and they're not the same people. Now, I can prove to you, Garfield, that the Greek culture and Minoan culture are not the same. And I also can prove to you genetically, right? With all the garbage scholars you got, I can prove to you, every scholar you got, I can show you 10 saying different because I know how scholarship and science work, right? Right? So stop it with the garbage, right? And I can also show you where in your scholarship, the people that you have don't even support your argument, right? He said the Minoan language is unknown and unclassified indeed. With the existing existence, it is impossible to be certain that the two scripts record the same language. And these are two scripts in the Minoan languages, right? And if it's impossible to say that these two scripts are the same languages, but they are saying that they're both Minoan, it's certainly impossible for you to say the Greek language is the Minoan language, or that they are the same people or same culture. Only thing you can say is that they had the same land. And because that's the only thing you can say, that is your strength. So you use the land, right, that was occupied by the same people, and then you juxtapose all of the history of the land of two totally different civilizations. This is what Garfield is doing, right? Now, allow me to back up out of that, what that says there. Said the Cretan hieroglyphics are undeciphered and linear A only partly deciphered. The Minoan language is unknown and unclassified, indeed, with the existing evidence. It is impossible to be certain that the two scripts record the same language. So, what I'm doing is making a point that the Greek language, it's impossible to say that the Greek language is the Minoan language. What I'm saying that it is impossible to say that the Greek people are the Minoan people, right? That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying that only thing that they shared was the land. They were two different civilizations. That's just like trying to juxtapose the Indian, the pre-native American Indians and all of the different races in America as all the same because they all have occupied the land of America. And that is crazy. So let's back up out of here. I'm going to show you some more reasons why this man is wrong. Right? Right? Let me show you why this man is wrong. Allow me to share my screen. Right? Because it says that I'm going to make sure, since no one is here, that everybody can see this. Okay, we're there. So I can go back over here. Try to make... Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Go back over... Am I in the wrong space? Okay, bam. Here we go. Now, just all you gotta do is just look this stuff up, simple Wikipedia. You ain't gotta take no college courses to see the Garfield a liar. Right? You don't. Right? It says the history of Greece, right? Now, when you go to school, you learn how to read the main idea, people. How to get the main idea. The main idea is in the first few sentences in the first paragraph. The first paragraph and basically the first few sentences give you the main idea of the whole damn book. Right? You learn this in school, people. You learn how to find the subject and the predicate, right? So look at the main idea, right? The history of Greece encompasses the history of the territory. Garfield. The history of Greece encompasses the history of the territory. I keep telling y'all what Garfield is doing. Garfield is juxtaposing the history and the territory. And right here, when you go to Wikipedia and look up the history of Greece, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words tell you that you can't do this because that's the main idea of Greek history. The very first thing you want to know when you're understanding Greek history, and he don't understand it at all, but he got a PhD. This clown ain't got no PhD in history, right? It says again, the history of Greece encompasses the history of the territory of the modern nation state of Greece, as well as the Greek people. The history of Greece encompasses the Greek people, Garfield. Because those people in 1500 BC were not Greek people. Garfield, they was Minoan people, Garfield, right? The history of the Greeks compasses the history of the territory of the modern state of Greece, as well as that of the Greek people and the areas they inhabited and ruled historically. Oh my God, Garfield. So you can't use the Greek rulership, right? You can't use none of the areas that they inhabited. You can't use the people, and you can't use the modern state of Greece, right? To compass Greek history. You can't do that, Garfield. That's non-scholarly. The first fucking paragraph demonstrates this against you, Garfield. You hate black history. I'm going to show y'all why he hate black history, y'all. Right? It says the history of the Greeks encompassed the history of the territory of the modern state of Greece, as well as that of the people and the areas they inhabited and ruled historically. The scope of Greek habitation and rule has varied throughout the ages, as a result, the history of Greece is similarly elastic in what it includes. Generally, the history of the Greece is divided into the following periods. We're talking about the Paleolithic Greece, right? You're talking about 3.3 million years ago, people, dealing around the time of the Homo sapiens. Garfield would like to have you to think that Alexander the Great is inherited or a recipient of that. And he's not, right? Nor is the Greek period that he's referring to, right, of the 7th century and up until now, BC. They're not the people of the Paleolithic Greece. They're not the people of the Mesolithic Greece starting around 13,000 BC. They're not the Neolithic Grecians, right? They're not even the Bronze Age Grecians. And this is what he's trying to do. Let's read this, people. It says that the Bronze Age Greece, 3200 BC to 1100 BC, began with the transition to a metal-based economy during the early Hellenic period. And in mainland Greece, they're talking about 3200 to 2000 BC, while meanwhile, Cycladic culture preserved in the Cyclades, 3200, 1500 BC. Now, that's two different people, right? And the Minoan culture around 3500 to 1100 BC, right? And he said the Bronze Age ended with the rise and the fall of the Mycenaean Greek palace culture around 1750 to 1050 BC in the late Bronze Age collapse, right? So what Garfield is trying to do, he is trying to juxtapose the Mycenaean Greek palace culture with that of the Bronze Age, the Neolithic, the Mesolithic, the Paleolithic, right? But it tells you right here, it tells you this for a reason, right? And it's demonstrating you why the Greek history compasses the history of the territory, right, of the modern stations as nation states of Greece, as well as that of the Greek people and the areas they inhabited and ruled, right? The scope of Greek habitation and rule has varied throughout the ages, and as a result, the history of Greece is similarly elastic. Now, because the history of Greek is elastic, Garfield would like to play with you like you're dumb, right? And he want to talk about black Greeks. I mean, he want to talk about white Greeks and white Grecians, right? Well, we're going to look up. He want to go back to old pottery that was found back in 1500 BC, but we got all of that, right? We got all of that. So let us back up out of here. Let me back up out of here, go in here, go to back to share screen mode. Okay, what am I looking for? Okay, we talked about how Garfield was juxtaposed in the Greek history, right? And the Greek culture is not the same as the Messenians. So, okay, who governed Greece in 700 BC? What are we looking for here? Let's look up the Greek timeline here. I wonder, can you all see that? Go back to the Greek timeline. Just let's do some reading here, right? This is what Garfield is doing. Garfield is juxtaposing all of these cultures, right? The white Greek culture that you see today started right around here, 19 BC to 1000 BC, right? And they had this the Mycenaean culture, right? And these were your white European ones, right? You got Sparta. Blacks existed, but blacks still dominated by way of the Greece, but they were not Grecians. These blacks that dominated were Minoans, and these Minoans, the only reason why they had anything to do with Greece, because they were Greek mercenaries, right? They were Greek mercenaries, Phoenicians in the land of, not Greek mercenaries, Egyptian mercenaries, right? In the land of Greece. They were Phoenician, Egyptian mercenaries, excuse me, in the land of Egypt, who conquered the land of Greece, right? And you don't start getting white people ruling until right here, the Greek, the Homer of Greece, the Iliad days, right? And they talk about geometric styles and Greek pottery. Pottery is first produced 900 BC. I'm going to back up out of here, and I want to look up something and show y'all something. And why, we'll show y'all what Garfield is doing. The oldest Greek, Pottery. Let's look up some of the images of the oldest Greek pottery. Right? Now we look up the earliest known Greek pottery pieces are dated somewhere between 7,000, right? And 3,500 BC. That's way before any white person ever even entered that land, y'all. And I'm going to prove that to y'all. It was nothing but black people in that land, and Garfield knows this, and he hates this, right? And I'm going to prove this to y'all, right? The earliest known Greek pieces are dated somewhere between 7,000 3,500 BC. Modern day Greece's eastern shoreline is along the Aegean Sea. So Let's look at get some images of what some of the earliest Greek pottery looked like. Right? Now, early Greek pottery, right? White people, see that? White people, white people. Greek pottery. It's a game that Garfield will play with you, right? Oh, they found Greek pottery, right? As if though the pottery that they found in Egypt was pottery that was attributed to white people. Why don't he produce this pottery so we can see what exactly is the pottery that he's talking about, right? But he won't show you this pottery right here. See? He won't show you this pottery right here. What the Greeks now are all black people, right? These people knew what colors was. You see blue, you see red, right? And the people here were black. Garfield don't respect that. He hates that. He don't like that. Because these black people and those white people in Greece were two different people. They were not bloodline the same people. So why is Garfield trying to juxtapose them as being the same people? Right? He brung up Greek pottery. Which one of these Greek potteries was found in Egypt, man? What, in 15 BC, man? You never did tell us what pharaoh ruled, what dynasty. You know, you talking about 15 BC, man. That's 1,000 years, bro. 1500 BC. Okay, then now you're talking about 100 years. Where in that 100 years? Brother, you're crazy and you're tripping. You don't have no degree, Garfield. Let's back on out of here. I'm going to show y'all something. Right? Back up out of there. Look at all Greek images of old. These are the oldest Greek potteries, people. Black people, white people, right? Look at this. We're going to play this game with Garfield because he want to play. He hate black people. So we're going to, because I'm trying to establish the fact that far ago, black people was in Egypt, right? I mean, was in Greece, right? In that land. And those black people are not Greeks, but they were in that land way back then before the land was called Greece. These are the white folks, right? Just look at the pottery, you know. Now, if we look at this Athenian vase painting to the right, the far right, your left, maybe. I to the far, no, it's to your left too. It's to your right. The Athenian vase painting, black and red figurine techniques, right? He keep talking about Greek pottery and just keep playing these stupid games, right? This is the oldest of Greek pottery, right? And when you look at this terracotta, this Greek terracotta Erebolus, you'll see black people on there. This is the oldest Greek pottery, right? This here goes back to 570 BC. Now he talking about 1500. In 570 BC, the pottery had black people on it, people. The people in Greece are not black today, and they don't descend from these people. They don't even have the same DNA, people. Garfield is taking y'all for a ride. We're going to break down, look at all of these terracottas, right? Black people, bam. Black people, right? Garfield would try to play the game that no, that don't mean that they were black. That was just the artwork, right? What if I could show you artwork that they had both black and white people on there, like this one right here? like the terracotta neck amphora jar. What happens when you do this? Then you prove he a liar. You see? I'm establishing that there were back in the early Greek pottery days, there were black and white people in the land. And the black people were not subservient to the white people in the land. Right? So we're going to establish that. And what I'm telling you is that the Greek people and which is these whites and these blacks are the Minoans, right? I want to show y'all something. We're going to back up out of all of this, right? We're going to get back up out of all that. Vicarious world in the house, peace, fam. He said, right, I just read this week, right? You know, and Garfield is spinning a narrative to those who can't read, and those who are too dumb to read, and those who refuse to read. This is what happens when you a grown man that depend on a motherfucker to teach you something, to feed you. When you should, to read for you, something that you can do for yourself. You can read for yourself. If you got to depend on a motherfucker to read for you, he gonna feed you shit every time, bro. And that's just the facts, man. So we're establishing here, right, that in the oldest of Greek pottery, you have both black and white people there. Garfield is trying to play the game that those Greeks were white, the same white Greeks today are descendant of the Minoans. Now let's go off into some ancient Minoan writings. Y'all gotta excuse me. I feel all all the way out of the show. I gotta get rid of some of this stuff up here. Most of this stuff ain't no good on my tabs, and this in a way. I done talked about all of that stuff, so we can get all that stuff out the way, so I can have some room here. I'm gonna look up something. I'm gonna show y'all something about memes, right? Let's look. I want to talk about. Let's just talk about some old Minoan and Greek mythology, because they didn't have any ancient history. They had mythology, right? And it was written by the Greeks, so it's not fake. They try to tell you, oh, that's pseudo. Let's talk about Queen Europa, right? Queen Europa. Can y'all see that? I'm going to share my screen now. Pow, I found it. Now we can pull it up. Allow me to share my screen. Right. And I'm going to show you what the game that Garfield is playing, because he's too stupid and he don't have a degree in history. Right. Not at all. Right. Okay. Europa, consort. Can y'all see it out there? I'll make sure y'all can see. Okay, yeah, y'all can see it. Vicarious World say, yes, sir. Now let's look up Queen Europa, right? Europa is the queen in which Europe was named after, right? Now let's look it up. It says in Greek mythology, Europa was a Phoenician, not a Greek, princess, excuse me. In Greek mythology, Europa, ancient Greek, was a Phoenician princess of Argive Greek origin. Now let's look up Phoenician here, right? These Phoenicians, to let you know that these people were people from the Levant, right? They were Semitic speaking people. The Greek language is not Semitic. It says the Phoenicians were a Semitic speaking people of somewhat unknown origin. It says somewhat, right? They know you can't be, it ain't no such thing as somewhat. Either you know it or you don't, right? The part that they know, they want to be like Garfield and reject it, right? Because the part that they know traces back to black. The Phoenicians were a Semitic speaking people of somewhat unknown origin who emerged in the Levant around 3000 BC. The name Phoenicia is an ancient Greek exonym that did not correspond precisely to a cohesive culture or society as it would have been understood natively, right? That's what he's trying to shoot the shit with y'all. It is debated whether Phoenicians were actually distinct from the broader group of Semitic speaking people known as the Canaanites. Historian Robert Drews believed the term Canaanite respond to the ethnic group referred to as the Phoenicians, right? By the ancient Greeks. He said archaeologist Jonathan N. Toombs argued that the Ammonite, Moabites, Ammonites, and Phoenicians undoubtedly achieved their own cultural identities, and yet ethnically they were all Canaanites. Right there, the word Phoenician right there. Phoenician, blah, 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 were all Canaanites. So the scholars know. I told y'all, they talked that old somewhat. Now, the Canaanites were Hamites, and the Hamites were black people, y'all. We're going to get off into that a little bit later. So let's get back right here where it says in Greek mythology, Europa, right, was a Phoenician princess of Argive Greek origin. Now let's understand what this word Argive mean. Argive meaning that it was a Phoenician woman, right, who lived in the land of Argos. She was a Peloponnesian. Basically, she was a Minoan people, right? The Argos is a land people, not a people. She didn't descend from a people called that, right? She didn't descend from a people called Argive, but the land. She descended from Argive, the land of Argive Greek, right? Argive Greece. But she was Phoenician by race, people, and the mother of King Minos of Crete. Oh my God. This is why Garfield don't like to look into the myths, because the myths of these people, the real myths of these real people, say that they were black folks. And Garfield hate black history. He hate black scholars. He'll even go as far as lie to you and tell you that mythology is pseudo. And mythology is not pseudo, because there's whole college classes of philosophy, religion, and mythology in colleges and universities. You can get a PhD in mythology. You can't get a PhD in pseudoscience or pseudo history. Garfield. That's why you don't have a PhD, because you pseudo. And I'm proving that now. So we see Europa was mother of King Minos. Let's see who King Minos is, right? In Greek mythology, Minos was a king of Crete, son of Zeus and Europa. Every 9 years, he made King Aegeus pick 7 young boys and 7 young girls and sent to Daedalus' creation, the labyrinth, to be eaten by the Minotaur. After the death of Minos, became a judge of the dead in the underworld. Now, this is not pseudo. This is what you call Greek mythology. This is not pseudo. Pseudo means fake. This is not fake Greek mythology. This is real Greek mythology written by the real Greek people. And their myths said that Minos was the king of Crete, right? Now, let's look. I want to take you and show you something. People, watch this. So look up King Minos. We're going to look up, see something here. Or how about this? We're going to look up this. How about was the Minoan Egyptians? I'm trying to find something here. I can't find it today. I did this something I just thought of at the last moment. We go something here to talk about the DNA, where it says the University of Washington DNA analysis on Earth origins of Minoans' first major civilization. And they talk about further analysis shows Minoan were distinctly related to Egyptians, Libyans, and North African populations. Right? Now, you got to go back and see. I read past this stuff for a reason, right? Because I didn't want y'all to get misunderstood. Where it says like the Minoan civilization originated in Europe, not Egypt. You got to understand that it did. It originated with Queen Europa, which was a black Phoenician people. The Phoenicians were Canaanites, and we just talked. I just showed you scholars that said that. I'm trying to find something. Here goes something that's cool, right? Now this is black scholars, right? Sheikh Anta Diop, guys who Garfield was clowning today, and they talk about these Minoans. These are Minoans. He talk about the pottery. This is the pottery on Greek walls and stuff like that, right? And these are the Minoans, right? These are the Egyptian depiction of the Minoans, of the Greek Minoans, and they're not white people. They're not these white people that Greek that Sinetta, I mean not Sinetta, that Garfield is trying to tell you they are. This is why he don't like Runoko Rashidi's work. How can I back up out of here? Because now it's acting like it won't let me share. show anything. What'd you say, Vicarious World? Bear with me, we got a little computer problem over here. I just came across a good site and now I gotta go through all of this crazy stuff. What Vicarious World say here? He said, I learned about this. I learned about He said, I learned this week mythology is just the way other nations describe the people of God, famous attributes. Right. But Garfield would try to tell you that that's pseudo, and that's the part where he's lying at. You can go to colleges and get it. No, he say very things that are very unacademic. Okay. Oh, okay. So where am I trying to go back here? To here. Somehow it won't let me show this thing about Renoko Rashidi. Maybe I could pull it up on my phone. That's what I can do. You see, I got this thing over here in the corner. I'm trying to get this ad off of here, and there's no way that it is allowing me to do that. Normally, I would have to just back on out and start all over. Yeah, there's nothing won't let me. Oh boy. Let me see if I can find another article there. Let's see if we can find what we're looking for on this one. Maybe we can find it if I look that up. Here we go. Here we go, people. King Minos. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's look up King Minos. Let me show you about why black people, why Garfield hate black history, right? He hate black scholarship. He hate mythology, which is real, right? He hate religion, which is real. He hate history, which is real. And he hate black people that know this stuff, right? King Minos, 3200 to 3000 BC. He's talking about the Bronze Age period that Garfield was just harping about. Ancient Egyptian, right? Probably pronounced Menage, right? Ancient Greek, I can't read Greek, so we're going to pass that. He said he was a pharaoh of early dynastic period of ancient Egypt, credited by classical tradition, which have united Upper and Lower Egypt, and as the founder of the first dynasty. Why is Garfield talking about 300 BC? Did he go back to 1500 BC? And there wasn't no white people around there, Garfield. This is commonly used name. The commonly used name means derived from Manetho, an Egyptian historian and priest who lived during the Ptolemaic kingdom. Manetho noted the name of the Greek as means. No, excuse me. It said Manetho noted the name in Greek as mean. So King Minos, right? Or King Means, right? The Minoan right, was Manetho, an Egyptian, black. He hate God, right? I'm gonna show you why he hate history. So he hate mythology, right? We talking a little history here, right? Let's look up something here, right? I'm gonna show you why Garfield hate the truth, right? Ham. Ham in Hebrew, according to the Table of Nations in the book of Genesis, was the second son of Noah, the father of Cush, Mizraim, Phut, and Canaan, right? It is Canaan and Mizraim, the Phoenicians, and the Egyptian history, black. That Garfield has a problem with, and that he hates. It said Ham descendants are interpreted by Flavius Josephus and others as having populated Africa and enjoining parts of Asia. The Bible refers to Egypt as the land of Ham. And Ham's sons is Mizraim, which is Egypt, right? Mizraim is the Hebrew and Aramaic name for the land of Egypt and its people. Canaan, according to the book of Genesis in the Bible, was the son of Ham and the grandson of Noah, as well as the father of the Canaanites. And Josephus said that Ham's descendants are interpreted by Flavius Josephus and others as having populated Africa and the adjoining, right, parts of Africa. They got etymology. Since the 17th century, a number of suggestions have been made that relate the name of Ham to the Hebrew word burnt, black, or hot, to the Egyptian word hum for servant, and for the Hebrew word hum for majesty, and the Egyptian word kemet for Egypt. David Goldenberg, scholar. People, I shouldn't have to read this whole thing. This whole thing tell you that the Canaanites and Egyptians were black people. So, when you going back that far back in history to the stuff that this guy's talking about, you'll see that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Garfield doesn't know what he's talking about. Vicarious Way say, I think I saw an article today where it said Ptolemy was like Dan's tribe. Garfield realized the brews were all up in Egypt as legends, right? Now, we talking about a reason why I started this song out with my uncle, this show out with my uncle Thomas Whitfield, because I've been telling these people that I am a legend. I'm born a legend. My family is legend. I'm a descendant of legends, starting all the way back to Israel, right? You can see on my uncle's records, gospel music, it says that he was the beginning of gospel music legacy, right? He is a legend, and there's myths about him, right? These myths are not true, but these myths does not block his purpose or his intent. Neither are they real. But it doesn't mean that my uncle was fake, right? Garfield say myths are fake. They're not real. They're pseudo. Garfield is stupid. Ask Garfield to produce that PhD so I can call that school and challenge him. Garfield know that he doesn't have a PhD. The shit he says is just stupid. no college teach. You could get a PhD in college in mythology. That's not pseudo. Garfield, you can. Because it's a real science and it's a real discipline. But Garfield would tell you that when you use mythology and myths and legends that are based upon the historicity and the origins of a people, that you can't do that. And you can, because those people said in their own writings that they were African black people. Flavius Josephus, like, man, he was like the, 70 AD, bro? 40 AD? Way before you was born? 2,000 years ago, the writings of 2,000 years ago said that these people were black people, Garfield. Now, the people that the writings were talking about were a black people. And the people that you see today were not those people. And it's just simple as that. And the writings of the ancients are not attributed to these white people who you're talking about, Garfield. So, the tribe of Dan, Garfield, was equated to Phoenician Greeks that were Minoan, Garfield. And you ain't got no record of that going back 1500 BC, man. You just don't have no record of it. You have record of black Phoenicians. You don't have no record of no black Danite, right? And if you do, then know that he was a black man because he was equated to these Phoenicians, the Phoenician Greeks, and not the Minoan Greeks. The Phoenician Minoan Greeks, I'm sorry, and not the white Hellenistic Macedonian Greeks. And this is why what he's doing, he juxtaposing history to try to say that these same white motherfuckers of today was the same white motherfuckers 1,500 to 3,000 years ago. And that is a lie, people. It only proves that Garfield hate black people because the ancient writings of the Minoans, the ancient mythology attributed to the Minoans, said that they were a black African Hamite people, man. Yeah. So that being that, I'm going to end this show, nice hour and a half segment. I thank you for stopping through Vicarious World. I thank you for stopping through Queen of Virtue. And I thank you for stopping through Tori. Like, share, and subscribe. This proves that Garfield is a lie. The ancient records, historical, religious, and mythological, proves Garfield a lie.